Welcome to all you Pisceans. Welcome for your monthly forecast in general for the sign of Pisces for June 2014. What is happening in June? Well, last month it was Venus that was very important, and now this month it's Mercury that plays a very important role. And Mercury goes retrograde, and I know that for a lot of people that doesn't sound pretty good, but if you understand what the meaning is of a retrograde, I think a lot of people can take advantage even of a Mercury retrograde. Now for you it's happening in a water house, which can only make it more interesting and going into the depths of the waters to understand what is happening actually and what needs to be done. Now first of all, this Mercury goes into the sign of Cancer, which is a fellow water sign, and it will be stopping at the point of 3 degrees of Cancer. So it will be going into those first degrees of Cancer into your 5th house, which is a very pleasant house, a very joyful house. It's the house of creativity, it's the house of the expression of the heart. So the first couple of days of the month will give you already a bit of a sneak preview of what the meaning is of this Mercury retrograde, because at point 3 degrees of Cancer is very important. And so the Mercury has to do with the thinking processes, and it has to do with ideas, it has to do with how you think and how you communicate. So actually eventually the whole month of retrograde that will go back into the sign of Gemini, which is actually your 4th house, has to do with your 5th house, which is about creativity. So the goal, you could say, is to improve your creativity, to improve your communication towards that, to improve how you express yourself. That's actually the goal, and that is the meaning why Mercury wants you to slow down your thinking processes. But that is the end goal. Now Mercury, this point of 3 degrees of Cancer is very important because it not only stops there and goes backwards, there's also a new moon on that particular point. It's actually on 5 degrees of Cancer, the new moon, at the very end of the month on the 27th. But it's a significant it's significant because it's on that same point that there is a new moon, which always indicate new beginnings. So that suits very well with the new way of expressing yourself. That's the ultimate goal, remember, of this Mercury retrograde. So if you are someone who says, Mercury retrograde is not well for me, keep that in mind, that is the goal actually. Now where is the work that has to be done around this Mercury retrograde? It's actually the 4th house, because for the whole month of June, and it starts going retrograde around the 8th of the month, for the rest of the whole month it goes backwards in the sign of Gemini, so 29 degree, 28, 27 and so on, and that is your 4th house. So there is the work, you could say, that needs to be done around that Mercury retrograde. Now it's in Gemini, so first of all it's a very strong Mercury, and therefore I always think, and I'm talking out of experience, that when Mercury is in a strong sign, it is not experienced that hard to people. Of course it depends on your personal chart, but normally it is stronger, that Mercury. And in the 4th house, it is a house that Pisces has affinity with, because the 4th house, as I said, is a water house. Now Mercury always means to stand still and to think about something. To think about what? Well, 4th house issues, and that could be quite a lot. So I'm just going to say a couple of things that could be the case for you, but it all revolves around your core identity and around your roots and around your family life, your home, the way that you feel nurtured, the way that you feel emotionally secure. So this is the area that needs to be reviewed, and taking your time for that, the whole month to do that. And of course Mercury has to do with our thinking processes. So it could mean, for instance, that you want to change something in your home, that maybe you are seeing something that you don't like anymore, whether it is the ceiling or the walls or whatever, and that you are going to change that. But it takes time, because that's the Mercury retrograde. Mercury is also a planet of movement, so maybe you're going to be quite doing a lot at home. It could have to do with, I think, Mercury likes to order things. So I know that's not really a Piscean trait, but Mercury wants you to maybe to restructure the closets, or I don't know, to reorganize your paperwork, or something that you do at home and that you need to dig a little bit deeper into it. So it's not really a Piscean thing, but if you want, and therefore if you resist it, it becomes even more of trouble. But if you understand why it is for, remember, and it's for you to, after this month, you can express yourself in a better way, then it's easy to, or easier to do that step by step, and in little pieces. So so it can have to do with restructuring something at the home. It can also have to do with revisiting your roots, and that can be, let's say that you live in a foreign country, you go back to your roots and you visit parents, for instance. Or it can simply mean that you find your photos, your pictures, and that you reorganize them, and because of that you think about your youth and you think about how much you have changed over the years. Could be the case as well, and that is a process that you do. It's a bit of a healing situation, because the fourth houses really has to do with your deeper inner self. So I know it's many different things, but that is how it can occur for you. So restructuring the home, also things that need to be changed at home, but on another more psychological level, it can mean that you dig back, and that you think a lot about, but that you also talk a lot about what has happened to you in the past. And it's a good time now to think about where you are now and where do you come from. And that can have a good effect as well. If you know that, okay, I'm not where I want to be now, but you know, if you look where I'm coming from, and maybe some couple of patterns from the family that I've inherited and that I had to deal with. So if I know where I'm coming from, then I understand that I don't have to be that hard on myself, for instance, and so on and so on. So it's quite a very, I think it's going to be an intense Mercury retrograde for the Pisceans, because it's in an intense house. It's rather in an intense area of your life. But again, what I forgot to mention is that point, so next month will be more of the revealing of the positive side and of the fruits that you've gained by doing this work, this mostly inner work. But as I said, on a very physical level, it can be really that you just change the furniture all of the time. But the clue is here to express yourself in a different way, and for you in a better way, and to be yourself, and to be okay with that, and your unique self. Now, that point of 3 degrees of Cancer, and where the new moon also is going to be, is that there is a fixed star there that is called Propus, P-R-O-P-P-U-S. And that fixed star is very Mercury related as well, and it has to do with the following. The ability to express ideas in reasonable and acceptable ways, which win because of their manifest intelligence. Now, if you relate that with the 5th house of expressing ideas, but in a very practical, reasonable way, that is what you are going to expect next month after this work, this inner work that you for Pisceans is very important to do considering your 4th house. So I think a very interesting month for Pisceans. I think it's you can do a lot of change on a very deep inner level, because it's the root of your chart. It's the deepest point of your chart. So it's not so visible, but only you see it. And that is important as well. It starts with you. Now, thanks for listening. If you want a personal reading, get in touch, and see you next month. Bye-bye.